It's 4 o'clock on a Monday, and you know what that means. It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi TV Live. This week, starring special guest star Mr. Dave Cool from Bandzoogle. Yeah. And welcome back, Dave.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I love that intro.
Yeah, nothing but first class for this place. I've known Dave now for a couple of years. Bandzoogle has been a proud sponsor of the Road Rally, and we've gotten to know each other through that. And we did one of these shows almost exactly a year ago, and went out to dinner. It's amazing. We could talk for hours about all things music and God only knows what else. But
Yeah.
I love having him on the show because he is a marketing nut like I am, and he really offers people stuff that they walk away going, why didn't I think of that? So yes, we are in fact going to do some demo derbies of websites today. And Dave said, rather than doing a million of them and doing them just really quick and not giving out great information, let's see how we do on time, but I'd prefer to spend more time on the sites that we do today, and later in the show he will give out his email address so you can email him. I keep looking at my computer over there. You can email him a link to your website, and he will do a personal critique for you.
Yes.
So that's incredibly generous of you. I don't know where you find the time unless Bandzoogle lets you.
In airports.
I was going to say, hopefully they let you buy the Wi-Fi on the planes.
Yes.
Because I know you well enough to know that you would be working at 33,000 feet.
I was on my way to Los Angeles, so I'm sure I will be on the way back to Montreal, for sure, yeah.
He's a hard-working guy, and very smart and very good at what he does. So
I appreciate that, jeez.
well, no, you are. I enjoy
I do my best.
hanging
It doesn't
out
feel
with
like work, though. It's, working in this industry is a lot of fun.
He used to book bands before he got into this, so he really is a man of the people and knows what you guys are about. What did I want to tell you? My wife and I and one of our daughters went to a wedding over the weekend. We were in San Francisco for my wife's cousin's wedding, and a guy walked up to me and said, I only see you on Mondays. And I said, what do you mean? Oh, I watch Taxi TV. So no matter where I go, there are Taxi TV viewers, and we're glad that you guys do that sort of thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we have our following. So I want to ask you a few questions before we get into some of these demos. And the biggest question I've got is, what are the primary reasons that musicians need to have a website? Because there are so many other promotional tools, and it almost feels like, a website is old school, yet it's not.
Yeah, in the age of social media, we get that question everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Why do I need a website?
Right.
I have Facebook, I have, Twitter, YouTube, whatever, SoundCloud. And these are all great tools for musicians. But we feel, and a lot of people in the industry especially, feel that you need a hub online, a place that you own and control.
Mm-hmm.
So once you buy your domain name, if you never let that expire, you will always own that slice of the internet. So years ago, remember back in the days of MySpace?
Yes.
So long ago.
Those days.
Yes. A lot of artists spent a lot of their time building up a fan base on MySpace and focusing on that. Well, lo and behold, one day people thought MySpace wasn't cool anymore and stopped using it. So if you didn't get those fans of yours onto your website, getting used to finding you on your website, signing up to your mailing list. Website and mailing lists go hand in hand, and I'll talk a little bit about mailing lists later.
Absolutely.
But it's another key tool for musicians. But if you didn't get those people coming to your website, you couldn't. There was no transfer fans to Facebook function on MySpace. You couldn't just magically bring them over to Facebook, and
so you have to start essentially building anew.
Exactly. So we really encourage artists to have their own hub online where not only they own that slice of the internet, but they can control the experience. And what that means is that on Facebook, every page essentially looks the same. It's very noisy. There's ads everywhere. People are there to socialize, talk with their friends. And so we encourage musicians to bring, and composers and artists to bring people onto their website, into their world. It's almost like coming to your boutique shop. And you take them by the hand and say, here, welcome to my store. Here's what we have on special. Here's what we do that's unique.
Right.
And you really immerse them in your world. Whereas on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, it's noise, lots and lots of noise, and you're not going to get the full attention of fans that way. And attention has become almost a new currency in the music industry. Being able to get and keep a fan's attention is valuable. Because people are so distracted, they're doing a million things, they're clicking on a bunch of links,
Yeah.
checking their text, checking their Twitter, and so if you can capture those people and bring them onto your website and give them a good experience, get them, have good fresh content where they can learn about you, sample your music, sign up to your mailing list, shop on your store, you have a much better chance of developing a long-term relationship with those fans.
Yeah, I've got to believe on Facebook, especially, you're sharing that attention with, anything else, anybody else that has something on your wall, wherever, that could distract them. They click on it, they're gone. You've lost them.
And the ads on the side, sexy singles in your city, and that whole, it's not.
I've never looked at those, Dave, ever.
But it's not the ideal environment to, certainly not to sell. There's a great analogy I heard at a conference where someone said, look, if you're trying to sell on Facebook, that's the equivalent of walking to a random bar, going up to a group of people who are there talking and drinking with each other and saying, hey, buy my music.
Right.
There's no context for it. They're not there they're not on Facebook to shop. They're on Facebook to socialize.
And they're not liquored up when they're on Facebook.
And that's right.
So you have to stand even less of a chance because the walls aren't down.
Exactly. So your website and your mailing list are the best places to sell your music and sell your merch and really capture your fans. And the other reason to have your own website is, there's also the industry perception. I know when I was booking, you mentioned earlier, I was booking bands at a couple venues up in Montreal, Canada, and it would drive me nuts if they only had a MySpace page, because I want to do business. I want to book you. I want to offer you a contract. I'm not going to do that through a MySpace message. I want to go to your website, and I want to see a contact page, so I can actually get in touch with you privately, not a private message on MySpace or Facebook now or Twitter. I want to be able to either pick up the phone or send an email directly to whoever handles the booking for your band. And a website is the best place to do that. So from an industry standpoint and media as well, they want to go to a website and find all the information that they're looking for.
I think a lot of people make it difficult for people to take those actions. It's like you've got, as a musician, you have to decide what is my priority, because different musicians need different things. Somebody who's a singer-songwriter that pitches their stuff for film and TV has different goals and desires than a working band that's trying to get an audience out to a show. So do you recommend that they sit down and think hard about what their priorities are before they put together a website? So, because a lot of people seem to just throw one together, like that font looks cool, or that color looks cool, or that photo looks cool, but they forget what they're trying to accomplish. Yes. So can you point out some of the differences between, like the difference between what a singer-songwriter might do versus a band that's trying to book gigs, or maybe even an orchestral composer? Why would they need one?
Yeah, that's a great point. You really need to have a specific goal in mind when you have your website, especially on the homepage. The homepage is the page, it's arguably the most important page on your website, because that's most of the time that's where people are going to land first.
Yeah.
And so one of the biggest mistakes, most common mistakes we see is that musicians try to put too much on that homepage. They try to put everything: videos, music players, a bunch of content, bunch of text, social streams, social links, mailing list sign up, all sorts of embedded widgets. It's a mess. When people land on your website, they need to get a clear snapshot of who you are, what you do, and what do you want that visitor to do as soon as they land on your site.
Say that again one more time. That's worth repeating. What you are.
Who are you? What do you do? And what would you like me to do once I land on your website?
Okay.
So that's what we call a call to action. So there should be you should be focusing on one, maybe two calls to action on your homepage. When I land on your site, I want to get that snapshot of who you are and what you do, and what are you focusing on? What's your goal? So it could be, if you're a touring band, you want to drive up your mailing list subscribers. So it could be, sign up to our mailing list, we're going to give you a free, exclusive EP, something like that. If you have a new album out, it could be, new album out, click here to go to our store to buy, or click here to go to iTunes, whatever the case may be.
Why are people afraid? A call to action is necessary for any business, and musicians are a business if they want to earn a living with, making music. They're timid about asking people to purchase something. And I think that drives a lot of the website design. At least it drives them away from that aspect of website design. But don't you find that customers want to be told, here's where you can buy it?
They want you to make it easy.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to search through different sections of your website to find what I'm looking for. It has to be well organized, it has to be very clear, the navigation has to be very clear. You can't have 20 different navigation menus, sub-menus, and all sorts of... You need to have a focused, clear website where if I'm an industry person or a media person, I need to find your official photos, I need to find your official bio. If I'm a fan, I want to be able to find your merch, I want to be able to find your music. If I'm a potential fan, let's say you're a performing artist and you're opening up for another artist and their fans are going to your website to see, is it worth showing up a bit early for this person? You need to give them some music to sample,
right.
Give them a little snapshot of who you are, maybe a free download, and then you know maybe they'll be willing to show up 45 minutes earlier and check out your set. So you have to think about all these different people that are coming to your website and try to, as best in a clean, organized fashion, tailor to all of them.
Yeah, I mean, the classic consumer question to be answered, even though consumers may not think of this out loud, is what's in it for me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm here, what's in it for me? So you've got to think about who your customer is and what they're coming there for, and
you have to have something for everyone. And for your super fans, you know, we see some artists using Bandzoogle that put together these amazing bundles with really cool merch items that you know the casual fan wouldn't be interested in. Like there's this one band that has a voodoo doll, like a handmade voodoo doll. Like they're hardcore fans. Love that. Like that's the kind of cool stuff, but the casual fan arriving on their site is not going to buy a voodoo doll as soon as they get there. However, as the band develops a relationship with those fans and they become super fans who are willing to buy whatever your band or the artist puts out, you put out some cool merch like that and all of a sudden you're generating more income because you're feeding your super fans with some really cool exclusive stuff.
How many super fans can the average band? I know this is a loaded question because, you know, if you're from Peoria, Illinois, your list is going to be 500 people maybe, and if you're from Montreal, maybe 3,000. If you're from LA, maybe 5,000. But for all the indie artists out there, at what point does their mailing list, is it 200, 500, 1,000 people? At what point is it big enough to matter and generate income for them?
Yeah, you know, it's a great question. I'm not sure if there is one right answer. The Topspin Media, which is sort of a DIY, direct-to-fan marketing tool, they used to say that like they focused as well on the mailing list, building up that mailing list, give away free content initially as you're starting out, develop a relationship with your fans, and then sell to them. And they would say that 2,500 email addresses before you try to sell anything.
Interesting, because
which sounds a bit high to me. However, I understand the sentiment. You really want to build up that relationship, get people excited about you, and then when you have a critical mass, say, hey, we've got this new album, you know, send out that email blast and just watch the sales come in, hopefully.
Well, it makes sense because in the world of direct marketing, 1% is, if you get 1% of the people on your list to take an action, presumably buy something, that's considered, you know, like a triple. If you get 2%, that's a homer. So if you get 1% of 2,500 people, that's 25 people buying your CD at $10 a pop. That's $250 for sending out an email.
Exactly.
Because you cultivated trust with them and a relationship with them over time, and they don't feel that you're intruding. You're offering them something they might actually really want.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it goes back to Seth Godin's book from probably 10 years ago or more, Permission Marketing.
Yes, the classic.
Okay, let's talk social media, and then let's do a review. Social media, we live in an age where everybody can connect with everybody on an iPhone or any sort of mobile phone, on any kind of tablet. Yet, I have yet to meet any artist, composer, or songwriter that said, check it out, I am doing so well with my Facebook page or with my Twitter account that I'm earning a decent living with my music. Why do you think social media on its own isn't enough? I know we talked about, you know, that they go on your Facebook page and their attention is scattered. But
Yeah,
The,
mostly because it's so fleeting. Again, it goes back to the MySpace analogy. I mean, now Facebook, if you just look at where Facebook is going, um, because more and more people are using, if you take Facebook's word for it, because there are more and more people, there's a cynical view to this as well, but I'll start with Facebook's official stance. Because there are more and more people using Facebook and liking more and more pages, they have to keep their users' news feeds relatively clean.
Mhm.
So they can't show all of the updates for all the pages that someone has liked. So
Right.
now they use an algorithm that no one can fully understand, but basically, the more that that people like, comment, or share on your posts, the more it'll go up through the
Mhm.
algorithm and be shown to more of the people who have liked your page. This percentage of fans that see your updates is going down all the time,
Mhm.
and it's now looks like it's less than 10% of the people who've liked your page who are actually going to see your updates.
Makes sense.
So, but the caveat is you can pay Facebook
Yeah.
to show it to more of the people who've liked your page. And I manage Bandzoogle's Facebook page, and we're seeing those kind of statistics. And when we have something major, like if we release a free ebook or there's a blog post we feel that deserves some more attention, we'll pay to make sure that most of the fans who've liked our page see it. However, that gets expensive, and not every musician can afford to pay every single time you've got a major update. And the more likes you have, the more it costs you
Oh,
to display your news. So,
right.
major brands, major companies are starting to go back to, hey, come to our website, join our mailing list, because it's a much more reliable way to keep in touch. So, is there going to be mass exodus from Facebook as there was from MySpace? I don't know, but certainly people aren't happy about these changes, and they're changing the way Facebook pages look. It's coming soonish. There used to be a way to, and there still will be, to plug in apps, so there'd be these little boxes so you can put a music player, store, mailing list, sign up, and artists were really happy about that. And you could actually, at one point in time, dictate which page people land on your Facebook page. Well, Facebook overnight decided, no more. You have to land on our page first. So all these app companies that were developing those apps kind of got screwed overnight. You can still add apps, and you can still see them right now on the front page of your Facebook fan page. However, Facebook is changing that, and there's going to be a little drop-down menu to be able to even see what the categories are. So they make these changes, and it goes back to the fact that you don't control what happens on social media sites. You don't own that fan list. If Facebook decides to change things overnight, and you don't have those fans on your mailing list, you're starting over again. Or if everyone decides to leave like they did with MySpace. So it's too volatile, it's too fleeting, and if you're in this for the long haul, for your career, you need to have that fan list. You need to control the data. People come to your website, where they're from, how they got there. That's really important information, and get them on your mailing list. And that, over the long term, will help your career more than, I would think, social media, because of... I'm focusing on Facebook because they're a little frustrating, but Twitter's going to have to start doing some things in that vein too. If they have investors, they filed an IPO, and once it becomes about pleasing the board and pleasing your investors,
Yeah.
sometimes the users get squeezed in the process.
And Twitter, talk about fleeting. I mean, sometimes you look at Twitter and stuff is scrolling by so quickly, you can't see it all.
Yeah.
I barely use Twitter, and I don't follow that many people. But even with I follow maybe, I don't know, 100, 200 people. And I get so much stuff that literally you don't see the vast majority of it. So while you may feel really good that you tweeted that you've got a show coming up on Tuesday, well, let's say Friday, probably a better show day. Most people aren't going to see it because, first of all, they're not sitting there holding their phone just waiting for your tweet like you hope they are.
Exactly. No, the percentage of followers that actually see your tweets is not very high as well, as you pointed out the reasons. Also, it drives me crazy when an artist says, hey, if you need the information, check my Twitter.
Yeah.
Well, you've got 100 tweets. I don't want to sort through all of the food pics and all the other tweets. I want to go to your website, click on the calendar page, and get all the information, be able to buy tickets directly, get directions to the show, get all the information I need in a controlled environment that is not... I'm not trying to sort through hundreds of messages to try to find the one that's about the show that I want to go to. Let's say I see some artists announce their tour and it's like 20 tweets in a row, and then they bury it with all sorts of other information. It's important, I should say, social media is important, and it's important to have a cohesive plan and strategy to start with your website, write a blog post, announce it on your website, feed that out. We call it hub and spokes. Your hub is your website, your spokes are your social media sites, and you seed the spokes with content, and you're trying to, because some people prefer Facebook, some people prefer Twitter, some people prefer YouTube. You seed all the content out, and you drive them back to your website if they need more information.
People are technophobic.
Yeah.
I've got to say, you look at the Road Rally audience, they're grown-ups. It's not a bunch of 22-year-olds that have grown up on tech. Our audience skews, like 35 to 55.
Yeah.
And the older people tend to be, the less technologically savvy they feel, and they're intimidated. And they may have had a bad experience by, even as easy as WordPress can be, they're intimidated by using WordPress because it's not that easy. So maybe they have a failed attempt in their history.
Yeah.
I've seen you put together a site in literally minutes using Bandzoogle, and that's the whole concept behind what you do. And yes, this is a shameless plug, but they deserve it, damn it. Literally, you could take somebody with no tech experience whatsoever, if they could do a document in Microsoft Word and change a font size and highlight something or cut and paste, they can build a great looking site with Bandzoogle. Is that a true statement?
That's the idea, yeah. At the Road Rally the past couple of years, I've done a workshop where we've built a website in about 10 minutes using Bandzoogle. It's meant for musicians who don't want to worry about knowing how to code or having any design skills. We walk you through the process when you sign up. So you can build a site, add your content. It's all point and click, drag and drop. Mm-hmm. It's very easy to make modifications, and we have an amazing support team online 7 days a week. There are other ways to build sites. You mentioned WordPress, and WordPress is an extremely powerful content management system, but we do get a lot of musicians who come to us saying, someone designed my site. I don't know how to update anything. I don't know how to change anything, or they can't even get in. They can't even log in. Their designer flaked out. They don't have the login information. So we make sure that musicians are in charge of their website and that they can do it from anywhere in the world. They can update their site, talk to our support team. So there are other options out there, but Bandzoogle is really designed for musicians, by musicians. It was founded by musicians. Most of us are musicians at the company. Our CEO is a DJ, so we don't count him, but I like to bug him about that, but
thank God he's not a drummer.
I was going to say,
getting drummers.
What I like to say, it's funny you mentioned that, what I have to tell people at conferences, it's not our official company slogan, but I like to perpetuate it, is that Bandzoogle is so easy that your drummer could do it.
There you go.
And I'm a drummer, so I like to say that. But we did get a support ticket recently where someone wrote in from a band saying, our drummer really messed up our site, we need your help. And the support team knows I like to say that phrase, and so they sent it to me saying, it might not be so easy, your drummer could do it after all, because this guy's drummer messed it up. But it really is. I mean, you don't have to code anything, you don't have to, there's pre-made designs, and you can just upload your own images, or if you're really comfortable with design, you can build something totally from scratch, totally unique. So it's really meant to give artists full control over their online presence for their website, and to have their own domain, their mailing list, full e-commerce, sell their music, sell their merch. We don't take any cut of sales. It's really meant to be as musician friendly as possible. So that's why we've been around for 10 years. So it's we power tens of thousands of websites around the world, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to see how many musicians use the service. And we did a meetup in Los Angeles last night, and great turnout, and people have been with us for years, and it's fun. It's fun to work for a company that has a great reputation with musicians.
You do. I've never heard anybody say a bad word about you guys, so that's not just their guys saying that, that's the world saying that. One last question before we start looking at some sites, and that is, having all that design capability at your fingertips is like putting a loaded gun in the hand of a child sometimes, as witnessed by what people did on MySpace. Everything, not everything, but a lot of people's pages on MySpace, had like paisley backgrounds and weird artistic fonts that they felt really said something about me as an artist, and you couldn't really read what the hell so if you were to give any basic design tips for these people that you're putting all these powerful tools in the hands of, can you give me 3 bullet points on, the first one would be keep it simple, stupid. The second one is stay away from fluorescent colors, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, keeping it simple is the first point. Simple is better. Don't try to do too much. Simple, modern web design tends to be quite simple, especially in the age of mobile. More and more people are accessing the web through
Right.
mobile devices. Um, Never, ever, ever use Comic Sans font on your website unless you're doing children's music. Even then, there are better fonts out there. I've reviewed websites for death metal bands that use multicolored Comic Sans font on their website, and I say, guys, look. Just to be honest, it doesn't exactly align with the brand image you're trying to
Right.
put forward. It's kind of goofy and childlike. It's meant for comic book. Um,
Do they take it well?
I've gotten pretty good at being diplomatic about the way I phrase things. Every day, it's part of my job to do website reviews for our members. So to make sure that because we want them to build a nice looking website using our product.
Yeah, the more successful they are, the better it reflects on you guys as a
exactly.
company.
The flip side of that is that we have put together a platform that is extremely powerful and customizable, which can run the gamut from incredibly sophisticated, modern, sleek, beautiful designs to things that resemble GeoCities. Because, like you
Yeah.
said, put that kind of power in someone's hands, you never know what they're going to do with it. So, keeping it simple, not trying to do too much, keeping it organized, and here's another important point that came up this week as well, and it comes up at every conference that we go to. We really honestly believe that artists and musicians and composers who are putting together a website should be spending way more money on professional photos than on their website. Bandzoogle costs maximum $200 a year, and that includes everything, no hidden costs, no other fees. You should be spending a lot more than that. It's worth the investment to get professional photos done, because you'll be able to use those across all of your online presence, social media, press, things like that. And the difference between a website using professional images and one that isn't is remarkable. It's striking. As soon as you land on a website and it looks like someone took a photo with their iPhone, or their girlfriend
Right.
or boyfriend took a photo with their iPhone, it's like low res and pixelated. If you're trying to present yourself not only to your fans but in the industry, it's a surefire giveaway you're not very serious if you don't have professional photos. So that's one of the key points: is invest the money in a good photographer, get those professional photos done, and those are going to be so valuable for you in the long run.
That was actually one of my questions, because we see it all the time with member submissions at Taxi, where some people send in photos of, here I am holding my Sunburst acoustic guitar that I got for Christmas when I was 5 years old. And other people send in, like, we've had shots of shirtless people wearing a guitar, and looking like they're playing, standing in front of a rack of gear.
Yeah.
Like, really? Do you honestly think that any fan really wants to see you shirtless playing your guitar in front of a rack of gear? Look how much stuff I own.
Yeah.
So they should hire, I agree with what you're saying. Not only should they hire a professional photographer, but they should hire somebody that has shot bands or artists before,
Yes, very
whose
important.
work you can see on their site and go, that's the kind of vibe that I'm going for.
Yes.
Because if you self-direct it and don't rely on their expertise, you're just going to end up with a better quality image of something not pretty.
Not exactly. Yeah, you want to ideally you want to hire someone who has experience with bands, and where you can see their portfolio online. If they're professional, they're going to have a nice website that's easy to look at their portfolio. So very important. And the last point I'd say, in terms of mistakes that we often see, is with fonts, and not only Comic Sans font, just in terms of content fonts. As soon as I land on a website and they have purple and yellow and blue content font,
Yes.
I don't take it seriously anymore. It's just stick to black, white, light grays for content font. You can highlight things and have hyperlinks in other colors, but again, those colors need to match your images, your background image, your header image. We, as part of our design system, when you're modifying the colors for the menu names or the content fonts or the titles, we suggest colors based on the theme or template you're
cool.
using, so that it stays cohesive looking. You can choose any color you want. You can make
Right.
it as custom as you want. However, we kind of nudge people and saying, well, your theme that you have is, uses red and, whatever, red
Right.
and gray and white. So, if you're changing the titles, stick to those colors. But for content font, it's much harder to read, fluorescent purple text, when you're trying to read long paragraphs of text,
Absolutely.
it's almost impossible to read. It's not comfortable and it doesn't look professional. So
Even reverse white on black for content, for paragraphs. I'm going to go grab a prop. I'll be back in 10 seconds if I can find this quickly. But there's a book that I recommend all the time.
yeah. Oh, I think.
Did I pull it out last
I
time?
think you might have pulled it out last time. Yeah. Content font. I mean, it's a simple thing, and also not too big. Don't have a 20-point content font that takes up your entire screen.
This is the old cover, but Type and Layout by Colin Wheeldon, Wheildon. Type and Layout. He has all kinds of studies about which size fonts are most readable. They've measured this stuff, and bottom line is an 11-point Times or Times New Roman font is pretty much where you want to be in print. Now, that doesn't always relate exactly to websites. Now, as much as I love an 11 or 12-point Times or Times New Roman font, it may not look modern and sleek enough.
Yeah.
So you may want to go with a sans serif font like Helvetica that doesn't have the little curly cues on all the ends, but it does make it a little harder to read. So think about your audience. If your audience is a young, pop, cool, hip audience, you can probably get away with the sans serif stuff. But if your audience is 40-year-olds who are now wearing reading glasses, think about making it big enough for them to read, and the serifs, the little appendages on the letters, make it easier. As a matter of fact, somewhere, maybe in this book, I saw a great experiment where whoever it was blocked off words. I don't know if you can see that very well, but they covered up half the word. And with a serif font, you could read it.
Right.
And with a sans serif font, meaning without serifs, you couldn't read it. So there's a lot to be said for serifs. I own several of them.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, that's another thing we do when someone picks one of our pre-made themes. We actually populate it with suggested fonts.
Oh, wow.
So that they go well, like a font for the header title, for the menu titles, and then for your content. You can you can modify it, you can change it, but we have professional designers on our staff who went through each theme and said, okay, these would look good together for all the different fonts that are going to be used on the site, and we suggest those initially, and you want to change them, that's fine. But it's, again, we try to ensure that that musicians using our platform are putting forth a professional-looking website, and so we try to nudge them in the right direction whenever possible. So, and fonts,
great
it's amazing how much fonts and professional images can really change the entire dynamic of a website.
Well, let's point the camera at
Sure.
your computer, and let's turn it a little bit, and all right. There we go. Not bad.
Not bad.
Dolly in of Ted. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to let Dave just do his thing now, and there you go.
All right. So just a few opening words. So we talked about this before. Michael, you asked me about why you should have a website. So again, just very quickly, you own the address, you own that little slice of the internet, you own the experience, and you own the data, where the fans are coming from, how they got there. That's extremely powerful information that you can then use to, if you're a touring band, if you're noticing you're getting a lot of visitors from a certain city, you can use that information to book shows in that city. Again, the hub and spokes concept, using your website as the hub, social media spokes, the 3 different types of people that are going to be visiting your websites, your potential fans that you don't have yet, your actual current fans, super fans, and then the industry and media. It's all stuff. You had great questions, so we already went over all this. So in terms of reviews, the 3 main points that we look at when reviewing websites are the design. Again, the photos, the fonts, the colors, the organization. Is it easy to find information on the site? Is the menu well organized and the content well organized? And then the content itself. Website should not be just a static flyer online. It needs to be a living, breathing thing that you're constantly updating. So is there content there that are going to keep fans coming back? Is there relevant content for media, for industry, for fans, things like that? So those are kind of the 3 categories we look at when we're reviewing websites. Very quickly, promo code for Taxi. If anyone wants to try Bandzoogle, promo code Taxi will get you 6 months free, no obligations. So
Wow.
6 months to build a site. If you decide to upgrade to one of our paid plans, you get that 6 months free. So take advantage if you want to, if you're looking for a new website. And this is how to find us. I can show this again at the end, but this is Bandzoogle Online, and my email's at the bottom, dcool, D-C-O-O-L, at bandzoogle.com. So for whoever submitted their website, if I don't get to your site today, shoot me a note. I'm going to be traveling this week, but I will get back to you with a full review by email, I promise. So
He's amazing like that. The guy is on airplanes more than he's on the ground, I think, though.
yeah, sometimes I feel I only do my laundry at home. I travel so
Ooh, that's
much.
a good idea for planes. I think the Boeing 787 should have a
little
laundromat in the back. Yeah.
Listen,
There you go.
I'd probably end up using it. So let's dive into some website reviews. I have to say, Michael sent me the list earlier today, and compared to the last time, I'm not sure if it's a coincidence or people are just getting more savvy, but the quality, the level of design was significantly higher this time when I was going through the site. So I'm going to do my best to point people in the right direction, but many of you that submitted your site were doing a pretty good job. So let's dive in and see what we can.
And by the way, it's worth mentioning that Sarah was out sick today, so I asked Anthony if he'd put together some sites for you to review, and there was no instruction, pick some good ones or anything. So he grabbed them randomly, and my guess is he said we got a ton of them, and he probably just grabbed the first 10 or whatever that came in. So I think it's just people have gotten better.
I think so too. Yeah, people our musicians are getting much more savvy. There's a lot of great tools out there to help them with that. So the Quiet Revolution. Immediate impression when landing on this site, let me just scroll down so people can see it, is they've kept it simple on the homepage, which I really like.
Mm-hmm.
The logo, the name of the band is in a kind of cool, designy font. The background image is really intriguing, sort of sets the tone a little bit for the band. Mentioned this earlier about homepages. Call to action, free download, right there on the homepage as soon as I land. And it's above the fold, so I can see that. So when you land on the website, above the fold, what that means, it comes from the days of when everyone got their news from a newspaper, a printed newspaper.
Right.
And the news above the fold was the most important because there was the news you would see prior to opening up the bottom of the newspaper. So same concept with websites. You want to keep them generally the most important, especially the call to action, above the fold, so people when they land, you're prompting them immediately to do something. So they've done a great job with that.
And if you click on free download, I'm guessing that you probably have to give them your email address, which helps them build their list and stay in touch with you.
Exactly. So two-pronged approach is great. With they're using, I believe this is a Bandcamp widget. Bandcamp's a cool company. They have some great tools. Bandzoogle has a similar thing where we do an automated download or album download in exchange for an email address to add fans to your mailing list. So they also have a mailing list here, sign up here. And what I love on their site as well when you first land on it is a play button. And it's a video play button. So we'd like to see some kind of play button on a musician's website. It's one of the first things I want to do when I land on a website is hit play. I want to hear what this band or this musician sounds like. I don't want you to auto start it for me. That's a very important point.
Especially if you're at work.
Especially if you're at work.
And the boss is walking by, of course.
And all of a sudden there's like screamo metal blaring through your speakers, which you forgot were on too loud. So let people have the choice to press play. But videos are great because it's going to engage your ears and your eyes. And what they've done here is they've really featured this must be a new video or their official video, and it's pretty big. We even don't mind seeing it the full width of the page, like 100%, nice big video, make it comfortable for people to watch it right there on your website. So having a video right there on the homepage, awesome, very cool. In terms of videos, in general, one of the biggest mistakes we see is websites that send people away to YouTube immediately.
Right, gets you off the page.
Takes you out of your world and puts them into the YouTube world where they're probably going to be watching a crazy cat video in 20 seconds because that's what's on YouTube. There's all sorts of distractions, and then they forgot that they were going to your website to check out your music and maybe buy something or sign up to your
So I'm curious, click this one and let's see what happens. Let's see if you stay on the page or not.
Looks like it. Looks like an embed. Yeah.
Great.
So there you have it.
Nice going, Quiet Revolution.
Very cool. So they have They have a full bio, a little introduction on the homepage,
Mm-hmm.
which is good. For a homepage, I would probably keep it to a short bio or maybe even an elevator pitch, like a one or two sentence. Here's what we do and what we're all about. So then you can put your latest news or maybe blog on your homepage. So when someone lands on your website, they see that you're active and that you're posting new things to your site. Homepage is a great place to do that. To have a full bio on the homepage is a bit it's very text heavy to read a bio right there. So again, think about all the different people visiting your website. Give the snapshot on the homepage. Put a bio section on your website, so whoever wants to dive deep into your full story can click on that link. But generally, this is almost a perfect homepage. They have the social links here up at the top with the various logos for all their different spokes, their social media sites, which is great. So I'm just gonna click around and see what their music section brings up. So they have their album here. So again, Bandcamp widgets, which is cool. They have a little thing here where you can unlock hidden songs in exchange for sharing on social media, which is kind of cool. It's a cool way to drive up your social media numbers. They have a video there. For videos, we see a lot of bands put videos on their music section. I think video is important enough. If you have several videos, have a videos section.
What about musicians? I know anybody can do a video now with an iPhone or, even better, a GoPro, something really high res,
Yeah.
and iMovie, but a lot of people don't have the wherewithal creatively to conceptualize a really good video, direct one, shoot it, edit it. So what about people, for those musicians who don't have a video, what's the most important thing that they can grab your attention with instead?
Something like this widget here, the free download. It's just a nice image, play button, just some kind of play button. Engage them, at least engage their ears if you can't engage their eyes. And again, have nice imagery in your site. Invest in a photographer. Engage their eyes and their ears. If you don't have a professional video, that's fine. That's the next step up in terms of investment of your visuals, is hire a photographer first. And then the next step is hopefully put together a professional video and something that you'd be proud to display right there on your homepage and to drive up the views through your site. So,
do you know that what's the big sweepstakes, Publishers Clearinghouse, how they make you take like an orange sticker from one place and move it 3 inches to another place, and that people who move that sticker have a much, much higher probability of buying whatever you're selling.
is that right?
That's considered, an offline direct mail engagement tool, is just moving the sticker, peeling it off of there, moving it 3 inches to over there. That person just shot to the top of the list of potential purchasers. So this is the online equivalent. If they've clicked on a piece of music or a video, they're engaged already. They're taking an action. That's cool.
Exactly. This actually caught me by surprise. I clicked on the lyrics section, and it's kind of cool. I'm assuming these are lyric videos. So they're lyric videos for the songs. It's kind of cool. I've actually never seen this presented this way, to have a lyric section. I've seen many lyric sections with text for each song. But to embed all your lyric videos is kind of cool. Not everyone would be clicking on lyrics. I would almost prefer to see videos, but again, lyrics are also popular content online. I read the statistics where people Google for lyrics. It's one of the most popular search terms in music. Trying to find the lyrics, because we're gone are the days of CDs with the CD insert and the booklet where you could read the lyrics. So fans are trying to find lyrics somewhere. So having it on your website is very important, and presenting it like this is kind of cool, actually. But you know what? I kind of like it. It's cool that they have all these lyric videos, because Michael and I were talking about YouTube before we went on air. But how many young people just go to YouTube to hear music?
Yeah.
And so it's happening. There's not much you can do about it. It's such a huge force now in the industry. So you might as well control your music and have your own channel, put lyric videos up. That's a perfect solution, getting back to the person who can't afford to produce an official video. Have your album cover, make a simple lyric video.
Right.
And there it is on YouTube, and you control it, and on your page you can have the call to action to download new music, sign up to the mailing list, drive them back to your website. So that's one solution to the issue that you raised before. So that's pretty cool. I like the way they approach the lyrics section. What is this? News. Okay. What I like there is I see the latest news is from April 16th, 2014, which is not too long ago. If you're going to have a news section or a blog on your website, the most important thing to do is to keep it up to date. I reviewed a website this weekend that their most recent update was announcing their new Christmas CD.
Got it.
And so immediately my impression is, well, they're not very active. So if you are going to have a blog or a news page on your site, make sure that at least once a month, at least, if not every couple of weeks, have a little something, whatever the band's up to, the musician's up to, what projects are you working on. And blogging, a lot of musicians get scared of blogging. It can be intimidating. I just released a blog post recently talking about 13 subjects that musicians can easily blog about. And it doesn't have to be a 1,000-word essay. It can be a paragraph. It could be a photo with a little caption. It could be a quick video. Just to have fresh content, new content, giving fans an excuse to come back to your website. And again, giving that positive impression to any media, industry people that come to your website and see, oh, this person is active. They're keeping their website up to date. So they've done a great job with their news section. Again, I'd probably prefer to see that right on the homepage and have a bio section, and let me just click on the Quiet Revolution, and we'll move on to another site. Okay, so these are the band members. Some nice photos there. Some credits. This is where I would expect to find the full bio. It's on the homepage, but this is where I would have expected to find the full bio, to be honest. So I would tweak that a little bit. Maybe take the full bio off the homepage, put it on the Quiet Revolution section, have a little elevator pitch on the homepage, and then put the news right there on the homepage so people can see the latest activity. But overall, visually, really cool. They did a great job. Homepage is great with the call to action in the video. The lyric section is kind of cool. So
simple, easy to navigate.
Easy, looks modern. Great job, great job. So let's move on to Pedro Costa.
So, a fellow countryman of yours, I might add. I know Pedro, he's a Canadian.
Oh, is that right? Well,
yeah.
There you go. Greetings from a Montrealer. So, a couple things. First impressions. I'm pretty sure this is a WordPress site. Yeah, WordPress theme. Because with WordPress sites, unless you know how to really dig in and deconstruct the themes, you're going to get things like this, like a search bar. And it's not terrible, but you don't need a search bar. If you're a musician, I mean, if you're Amazon or CD Baby, yeah, you need a search bar. You have a ton of content. If you're a musician, if you need a search bar to find something on your website, you're doing it wrong. You need to organize your website a little bit better. And
because that came with the template WordPress.
Exactly.
But if you knew a lot about WordPress, you could remove the code and make the search bar go away.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so. So it kind of breaks up the design. It's just this box here. You could use that for something else, or just keep it clean and have that just be a cohesive black header. One thing I do like is this composer, singer-songwriter, producer description. So again, as soon as I land on Pedro's site, I know what he does, which is great. The flip side of this is I like the fact that he has his name and a little description, but visually I'd like to see something more.
He's got a really cool shot that I saw when you were moving around the page that's just his eyes, and it's a very engaging shot. I think it's almost a branding thing for Pedro. Whenever I see it during the course of right there where it says blog, you know, that shot of his eye, normally you would see a little more of the eye. There you go. And I mean, frankly, I think that eye would be great up there.
Yes, I agree.
It draws you in.
It draws you in, just that. So looking at his blog, we were just talking about this before. His last update is from July 28, 2013. And before that is from November 2012. So what I would advise is, although this is cool news, UFC Ultimate Insider Placement, that's really cool news. It is dated now, though. So I would maybe take it away from the blog and just have it somewhere on your homepage and in your credits page.
Right.
Showing it that way rather than the blog format, which now keeps the date there, so it makes it look a bit old. But if Pedro just put that like in a visual, it might even be in the slideshow here. I haven't seen it yet. If you just had it there, all of a sudden it doesn't matter when the date is. If you don't put it there, it just looks like an impressive credit.
Right.
Adding the date seems like, well, what has he done lately? So
good point.
That's what I would say. But yeah, from a visual standpoint, having that photo up here in the header might help. Join the email list. Just cool. Like, join the email list, subscribe, simple call to action. we'd like to see more of an incentive. Like, why should I give you my email address? What do I get out of it? Do I get a free
Right.
song? Do I get insider news? Do I get exclusive video content? Do I get what's in it for the fan?
Who's his customer? I mean,
There's that too.
Is it fans that he's trying to appeal to? Is it people that are possibly going to license his music for another TV show? Is it somebody that's going to hire him as a producer? So it kind of feels like you almost have to create a path for each of those potential customers here.
Yeah.
Because one size doesn't necessarily fit all.
Exactly. He's probably using the mailing list I'm assuming, for his singer-songwriter aspect of his career. I wouldn't see music programmers or licensing agents signing up to the mailing list.
Right.
So, the homepage seems to be very focused on the composer producer angle, from what I can tell, based on the slideshows and the blog news. So I would maybe even get rid of this if that's the case, and have a separate section for singer-songwriter stuff, and there you can have the call to action for, like, you could use that space as a call to action to check out your credits, learn how to license music from me, something of that nature. But let me take a look at this about page here. Nice photo. He does have some nice photos, so he's a nice photo there. Good bio. He's got a quote from an executive producer from a Discovery Channel show, which is great. That's a nice, solid quote to have. I would even maybe put that up at the top.
I was thinking, why not make that your headline?
Exactly.
A headline in quotes, by the way, which I learned from Colin Wheeldon's book. Gets much more attention than a headline not in quotes.
Exactly.
So use an 18-point font up there, and where is the? Can you show me where the quote is?
It's actually this long paragraph, so I would maybe cut that down into one.
Yeah, a short
snippet.
sentence.
Yeah, because that, to have an executive producer from Discovery Channel say something nice about you, you want to put that front and center. I see he's got a link to his Wikipedia page, which is really cool. I just wrote a blog post on how to get your music or your band a page on Wikipedia. I've written hundreds of blog posts for Bandzoogle. It is the most frustrating thing I've ever done, is writing on that subject. At one point I had 13 tabs open with different rules and regulations on how to get up on Wikipedia. So you can search that if you Google for how to get your band on Wikipedia. You're going to come across that blog post. It can be done, but it can be a frustrating process. There are very stringent rules, but it seems like he's on Wikipedia, which is great.
They are tougher than getting by an A&R person or a music supervisor.
Oh yeah. Some of our members that I consulted with when I was writing the blog post had Wikipedia pages, and they said that they tried themselves to edit some some inaccurate information, and it got switched back, and then they got banned as an editor on Wikipedia.
Wow.
So it's a mysterious world, but it's impressive that Pedro has a page on Wikipedia. That's great. So his music page. So this seems to be more his singer-songwriter angle. I see he's embedded basically Bandcamp, which it kind of goes with this website, but you do see a bit of a clash in design between this. You can tell it's from an outside thing, and then the theme itself. So design-wise, it's not super cohesive, and there's all this weirdness here where I have to scroll side to side to get the full.
Oh wow!
To see the sidebar of albums here. So So I'd maybe try to fix that so at least it's all there and you don't have to scroll.
That's a usability issue. Anytime you make somebody work harder, you're going to lose them, or at least increase the chance of losing them.
Yeah. So that seems to be more for a singer-songwriter career. So that's where I would probably put the join the email list call to action on that page. Credits. So it seems like he has a lot of impressive credits here, which is great to have them listed. 2 points. One thing about WordPress themes, again, unless you know how to hack into it, I'm seeing these tags mean nothing to me on this credits page. Maybe they could be there with your blog on the homepage. Even then, I'm not sure.
Right, that's called a tag cloud.
Tag cloud.
And people used to be big fans of tag clouds because it had some search engine optimization relevance. But it's taking up real estate he could be using for something else.
Correct. Especially on these other pages. Maybe on the homepage it might make sense. Speaking of keywords, by the way, it's a common misconception, and this could always change. Google may change their minds back again. However, Google doesn't care about keywords anymore. They want content.
Right.
They don't, because SEO specialists, search engine optimization specialists, were gaming the system using keywords, keyword marketing. Google said, "Oh, okay, we see what you guys are doing. No more."
Yeah.
They want to see fresh content, blog posts, relevant content. They want to know that your website is alive, that you're relevant to the industry or the niche that you're trying to be a part of. So keywords, it might be helpful to find certain things on the site, but in terms of, if for anyone out there watching, if you come across an SEO specialist that really focuses on keywords, you can call BS on them. And you can look it up on Google's help.
And it's hard to get somebody that could create content for you if they don't know your world, because it's got to sound believable and conversational.
Yeah, exactly. So one thing I would say about the credit section for Pedro's site, great that he has it listed. It's a lot, and it's great that he has a lot of credits. That's awesome. Happy for him. However, I see UFC Ultimate Fighter buried at the bottom here, Discovery Channel buried at the bottom here. I would love to see some of the key ones like Fox, CBS, NBC. This is amazing stuff. Have visuals, have the logos of some of these networks, some of these shows. It's going to draw the visitor in much more. If they see the NBC logo, if they see the UFC logo, they don't even have to read the credits at that point. They just see, wow, this person has some real serious credits to their career. So using the visuals, using the logos is a way to quickly do that on a credits page. So it doesn't have to be for all of them, but for some of the key ones, you can have maybe right across, again, if you can get rid of this sidebar on WordPress, all the way across, have all the major logos, and then you can list all the credits underneath. But just give that visual, like, wow factor when landing on the credits page. But really cool that Pedro has all these credits. It adds amazing context for someone visiting the site, that clearly he's doing it professionally, and that these top line networks trust him and his music.
He actually, if I remember correctly, Pedro came to the Road Rally 2 years ago, I think, for the first time, and was in the bar and met the woman. At the time, she might have been a taxi screener, or she just started her job as head music supervisor, West Coast. And Pedro met her in the bar, and that started a relationship and got his music on Discovery.
No, I was I go to a lot of conferences, including the Taxi Road Rally, and whenever I talk to musicians, talking about conferences, inevitably the question comes up, is it worth it for a musician to be at a conference?
Right.
And my answer is always yes, especially in the age of social media, because there's so much noise out there, and social media is great for some things, but to make real human connections, to go out for dinner, to have a drink together, people want to do business with the people they like and know.
Absolutely.
And that's where those connections are made. It might not happen the first year, but maybe the second year or the third year. And over the long term, you start to see, a lot of artists feel almost like outsiders their first year at a conference. They feel like there's almost like these cliques that they can't quite penetrate.
Right.
But it's just be professional, be nice, and don't force it. Just have pleasant conversations with people, introduce yourself, and maybe the next year they're going to remember you, and you're going to have a great conversation at a bar. Maybe your favorite sports team's playing and you're both watching the game late at night. That kind of stuff leads to more business than spamming on Twitter or Facebook or any...
If I had $1 for every member that's ever posted on our forum, I went to the Road Rally and ended up getting a deal. I don't know if I could retire on that money, but it would be a real income. And you're right. It's because they actually meet real people and strike up real relationships.
Exactly. So for Pedro's got a simple contact section here with a mail form. For some, I'm not sure for a composer how relevant it would be. When I was booking venues, I wanted to see a phone number, because there were some times when I had a band fall through last minute.
Yeah.
I don't want to wait for an email. I need to pick up the phone and call you. And there was one night where I had two bands in mind, went to both their websites. One had a phone number, the other one didn't. Guess which band I booked?
Wow.
And they got the money that night because I was able to talk to someone immediately who handles the booking for the band. So for composers, for something like this, for licensing, I'm not sure how relevant that is. I'm not a music licensor, but
it's relevant. We have situations sometimes where we get taxi listings. I mean, we've obviously, we've got Pedro's number in our database. But if I were a music supervisor who met Pedro at the road rally, and I was in a meeting and they said they need new music for XYZ, and Pedro popped into my mind because he's a specialist for this type of music, I would want to be in that meeting right then and there and say, you know what, I think I know a guy that probably has a great track for that. Make the call from in the meeting, impress the crap out of the rest of the people in the room, but here you're going to get this form. And is it just me, or are these forms kind of a wall that says, I want to hear from you, but not quite that much?
Yeah, there's two reasons. Well, the reason you would use one is to control spam, because if you put a hyperlinked email address on your website, spam bots are going to crawl it, and you're going to get tons of spam. And with contact forms, it's also a way for someone just to fill in the information right there. If you have a hyperlinked email address, if you click on that, it's going to open the default mail program on someone's computer, and that's not always set to the proper one. So that can create headaches for people. What I like to see is a contact form and maybe a text email address without the @ symbol.
Right. Do @ in parentheses spelled out and dot in parentheses.
So someone can copy paste that and put that into an email program and easily replace the AT with an @ symbol. And that can work. But I understand what you're saying about the contact forms. The primary reason I think is to avoid spam.
Yeah. But the phone number makes more sense to me, but I can understand people don't want to, give out their phone number, but create a number that's just for your music licensing.
Yeah.
And have that number just be for that one purpose.
I don't know how much it would cost, but it can't be that much to have a secondary number that forwards to your same phone that is strictly for business purposes, but who knows?
Make it easy.
Yeah. Let's try to get through some more here. So this is a band, I guess called Closer by One. Again, landing on their site. They have a nice, simple, modern design, very, plain white background. This is kind of a cool, I don't know if it's their logo necessarily, but it's kind of a cool, intriguing image. The flag. I like that as the header image, good strong header image.
What do you think of the font for their name?
I think it works. I think it maybe clashes with the menu font a little bit, because this is very boxy.
Does it feel like it should be larger?
It could also be larger. That's why I was questioning whether it's actually the band name. Is this an album cover?
Right.
I wasn't quite sure. I'm assuming it's the band name. I'm guessing that's what it is. But so welcome to the digital home of Eric and Closer by One. So it must be a band. But yeah. I think it could be bigger as a header text.
Give it a little more gravitas.
Yeah. So
that's my big word for the day, by the way.
Woo. So let's see what he's got here. So for his news, it's a very tiny little box up here with just a link, music video, album launch update, lyrics. It's kind of small, and I rarely see news in the sidebar section of a site. It's usually the reverse. It's usually in the meteor section, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
So he's got the welcome message here. Check out the store, just click the picture above. So I guess that's his call to action, is to check out the store. So if I click on that, okay, it sends me to, actually sent me to a different website. Interesting. Seems to be the same website, but opens in a new window. I would keep that in the same window. Since it's the same site, sometimes if you're sending people away to Bandcamp or to Big Cartel or something like that for merchandising, I can understand a bit more. But it seems to be this store.
Yeah, you're still on the same guy's site.
Yeah, so I would just keep that link in the same window. Can be a little bit jarring to open up a new tab if people aren't expecting it.
I like the little the social media icons that
following me around.
Well, yeah, and the fact that they jump over to the sidebar, it does get your attention.
Yeah.
I think we've all become somewhat numb to all the social media icons that are omnipresent on every site. So that's nice.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I noticed, and he doesn't have too many, which is great. Some artists overdo it and have every social link they've ever created. Couple comments. One is that the T for the Twitter logo is obsolete now. They no longer use that as their branding. It's a little bird. So for people who it looks more modern if it's their It's their new logo, I would say. And for Google Plus, I don't know if Eric is active on Google Plus. If he is, he's the only one. Just kidding. Google Plus is one of those things that marketers debate all the time how important it is.
I know that it's gotten more important if you want to get your videos noticed on YouTube. Anything that Google's got their hands in and tied together.
Yeah.
That if you've got a video on YouTube and you are active using your Google Plus, that when somebody does an organic search, that your video is more likely to come up on the first page of results because you are actively using Google Plus and they want to reward you for that. But that's this month.
Yes, exactly, and it's great for a search engine. Apparently, they prioritize content that's being shared on Google Plus in some search results. So it can be important. If you're active on Google Plus, then definitely have the social link there. If you're not active in Google Plus, there's not much putting it. And that's the same. I'm picking on Google Plus a little bit, but that's the same for any social site. If you're not active on Twitter, don't put your Twitter link. Don't send fans to somewhere where they're never going to hear from you again.
Yeah, and they're going to see your last post was 2011.
Exactly. So let's just scroll down here. Scott, subscribe to our mailing list. That's cool. It does scroll down pretty far. So here's a awesome video that's way down at the bottom of the page, and a bunch of other videos, and a little comment box and a search box. So this looks like, again, WordPress spam to me a little bit, like just the WordPress noise. I would maybe clean that up a little bit. But again, you have a great video. I'd like to see that closer towards the top.
It's visually captivating. Can you scroll back to the video for a second? And maybe it's just the studio rat in me, but anytime I see LEDs and faders, I get excited. I don't know if fans would feel that way if it's just me.
Yeah. So again, a play button. I don't think there was a visible play button above the fold or anywhere. No. So again, put the video, put a music player, and maybe cut off some of the content. It does scroll down pretty far. The CEO of Bandzoogle, David. We only hired Davids at Bandzoogle, apparently. He likes to say, like, your website can have a blog, but your website shouldn't be a blog, as in it shouldn't scroll on forever and ever and ever and ever. Keep it pretty concise. Archive the older posts. Keep the top 5 maybe on your homepage or on your blog page, and then if people want to dive deeper, they can.
What do you think about blogs that show the first 50 words and then the little read more link?
That's one style too. If you want to give, especially on a homepage, if you just want to give a snapshot, if you have an image with a short introduction and then a read more, that can work.
Any statistics on whether or not people actually click those read mores if they're engaged in the first?
I think that all depends. It's funny. There's a few websites that I go to where they do a really great job at teasing the content in that first sentence.
Right.
That really makes you want to click the link.
Yeah.
And for websites that give away the content in that first sentence, I won't click the link. So it depends.
Yeah.
Depends on what your goal is. Do you want people to dive deeper? Then you can maybe tease it a bit more. If you just want people to get the information right away, at least they saw it and they didn't click. But
think like a headline writer,
That's exactly that's precisely
especially somebody who writes headlines for tabloids.
Yeah.
Amazing discovery that makes babies grow stronger, faster. Ellipsis, ... If you've got a baby and you want your kid to grow stronger and faster, you're going to read that because it's talking to you.
Yeah. So I'm just on the bio page here, and I noticed at the bottom is a download close to Right One's debut album on iTunes now, which is way at the bottom. It's a text thing.
And hard to read because it's light blue against the grayish blue background.
Exactly. I would have that right here at the top with the album cover, make it more visual, and right at the top of the page. And sending people away to iTunes is fine. Obviously, a lot of people consume music on iTunes. That's great. However, I would strongly recommend trying to sell direct to your fans for 2 main reasons. One, you get 100% of the money. Generally, depending on what tool you use. With Bandzoogle, we give 100% of the money straight to the artists.
So does the money flow through Bandzoogle, or does the
through
artist?
PayPal.
Okay, so they set up their own account, and all you guys do is literally allow them to put it on the page.
Yeah,
so
it's a shopping cart tool,
right?
Exactly, and we just make it look great on the website, and the fan can shop, add merch, add music, and then pay through PayPal, and all that money goes directly to the artist's PayPal account. Now, the second and arguably the most important part about that is getting the email address. when you sell music through iTunes, it feels good for sure. And
Somebody in Germany loves me.
yeah, exactly. But you don't know their name, you don't know how to get in touch with them, you can't follow up with them, you can't develop a relationship with them, and you get 67 cents per song, something like that. By the time iTunes takes a cut and their distributor takes a cut, however you decide to, I think CD Baby takes 9%, something like that. So, again, it feels good, and you should definitely have the option on your site if people are only comfortable buying through iTunes, and those people do exist. Have that information there, but try to get your fans to shop through you directly, so you can keep that relationship going and have their email address and be able to announce your next album or your next tour and things like that. He's got good album navigation. I'm still a bit confused by the Closer by One. I'm still not clear if that's the band name or the album name, because it is ericshouse.net, so I don't know. There's a bit of a disconnect. I'm trying to. It seems like it's a band name. Full-length album Closer by One is actually ramping up plans for touring, so it sounds like a band. I would buy that other domain, closerby1.com or .net, and maybe use that and point it to the same site, but there was a little bit of a disconnect there in terms of the branding. Navigation is very good, it's really clear. See the advanced page here, those are social links flying by again. So that's great. We've got directions to shows.
He's actually in our chat room, and he says it's the band and the album name.
Oh, okay.
So it's eponymous.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Man, I used two big words in one show.
He seems to have two homepage links here for some reason. There's one at the beginning here, and then there's another homepage link here.
Interesting.
And so that might be some kind of weird WordPress thing that it doubled up, but I would just eliminate the one in the middle here. Keep the one on the. People expect to see the homepage right at the first. Not only are there certain menu names that people are used to seeing, they're also used to seeing them in a certain order now. Homepage on the left, bio next to that, store and contact towards the other side. Like there seems to just be this order to things for music websites. So,
yeah, well, somebody described it to me as you always, in America anyway, you find the speedometer on the left and the tach on the right.
Exactly.
In your car. So
exactly.
That's just the way we're used to. Maybe in Israel, where Hebrew is backwards, the speedometer's on the right. I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's got a lyric section, which is awesome. Again, going back to the lyrics, where does this take me? This is taking me to the same website, but opened up a new tab. I would maybe keep that within the same site, within the same browser window.
Right.
And this is more WordPress noise here, like leave a reply. Why am I going to leave a reply? I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. I think that probably is part of the theme.
The WordPress theme.
WordPress theme. That's, again, WordPress noise. That's probably not necessary. Unless you want to start a conversation with your fans about the lyrics in your music. That's possible too.
And I would imagine for some artists, a singer-songwriter that touches a young female demographic, I would imagine that you would get some of that. Oh, I just, felt like you were talking to me in that first verse where you're talking about, him breaking up with you. Yeah. So I imagine that does take place, but it probably varies by the genre, by the artist, by the audience.
Totally. And then, again, going to his social page, he has his social links. I notice he has Instagram on this page, but he doesn't have the Instagram on that one that keeps following us around.
What do you guys? How do you feel personally about Instagram and corporately? Are you guys? Somebody, probably one of my daughters, recently said to me, like Twitter is so yesterday, or whatever it was. Something was so yesterday. Yeah. Facebook. Now everybody's on Instagram, and they've actually moved to maybe Snapchat and some other stuff.
Snapchat, yeah.
Yeah. So, is there anything that's hit your radar because you guys get to see all this stuff being applied? What's the current thing that people are gravitating to among the social media? Instagram
is probably the biggest, fastest growing, it seems. It's just purely visual, and if you use Instagram, you just connect it to your Twitter and your Facebook, and people see the updates, see the photos there. It amazes me how many people use Instagram and how big that community is and how many photos are being shared on a daily basis. I forget the statistics, but it's enormous. So Instagram is good, and so I just noticed that it's on the social page but not on this little widget thing here, so you might want to adjust that. Again, so here's this leave a reply noise. Again, why am I going to leave a reply on a page that has social links? So again, I would try to get rid of this box. You can use that. That's taking up a good chunk of real estate on the page, which is why I'm harping on it, because it is kind of visual spam a little bit, and you can use that to better use, or maybe just to declutter the page a bit. But
yeah, you could put his tweets below there.
Yeah, exactly. I could put the Twitter stream right there, or a like box so people can like his page right there on the website. Getting back to getting in touch with artists, there's no contact page. There's a social page. But again, if I want to book you, if I want to interview you...
Yeah, I don't want to go to your Facebook page to tell you that I want to do those things.
And I don't know if this leave a reply is going to go to an email address, or is this
going to post to a
page
somewhere?
Somewhere? It's a little unclear. So on the contact page, like some bands and musicians put a social page, like Eric's done here. What I recommend is having calling it contact, make it simple. Contact page, have email address and contact information for everyone on your team, from management, booking, media, PR. If it's all, for a lot of artists, it's all the same person. Make that clear, how to get in touch for those various things. You can have your social links on the contact page and your mailing list sign up. Every way people can connect with you, have it on your contact page. So that's what I would recommend in Eric's case. And let's go to the video section here. Curious what he's done. So there's that. There's that big video, and then some smaller videos underneath. Big video, and then that leave a reply box there. So it's not bad. You know, it's a bit broken up. Like, from a design standpoint, this looks a little bit weird, because you have this video going all the way across, and then you've got this semi-transparent image with a smaller video here. I'd rather see all big videos going all the way down the page. I want to be able to watch them comfortably right there on the website. So if he's able to do that, I think it would just help make it a little bit more cohesive design-wise, and a little bit easier for people to watch the video. So again, the one at the bottom is large, and you've got two small and large. Just make them all consistent, and I think it would make it just look a little cleaner. But overall, like, nice visuals, nice branding. You know, getting rid of that second homepage. Maybe getting that domain name to make that a little bit clearer, and some of the WordPress noise here, the leave a reply box.
One of the people is asking a good question. Can Bandzoogle partner with an existing privately built page? So...
Oh, probably meaning, can you transfer your design to Bandzoogle? We could probably help recreate the site. We're pretty close to it on our system, but it has to be built using our system on our server system. So you can't just copy-paste a design onto...
I can't just put the HTML and click send.
Because Bandzoogle is its own content management system. It's built on Ruby on Rails, which is very modern, sort of geeky coding language. So the designs have to be built on Bandzoogle. But again, it's really easy to use, and if there is a design that you want or that you're looking for, the support team can help out and help transfer content from your current site and help you with the design visually to make it look as close as possible to the one that you want. So it's not a copy-paste thing, but it is possible. Again, you can get pretty customized with Bandzoogle, so you can recreate pretty much any design out there.
And a related question, can Bandzoogle incorporate WordPress?
No, WordPress is a content management system, and Bandzoogle came out around the same time as WordPress, actually. So no, it can't be transferred. We have our own themes. It's our own system, and you know, we have hundreds of pre-made themes. But you can start with a white page, a blank page, and just go wild. Upload your own background image, your own menu buttons, your own fonts, custom colors, all that fun stuff. So it's to do that on WordPress, you kind of have to code and hack into it. With Bandzoogle, it's meant to not have to do any coding, so you literally just drag and drop and point and click and all that fun stuff. So you can't. But again, if there's a WordPress theme that you kind of like the look of it, chances are there's something that you could do using the Bandzoogle system. So it's a good question. It's a question we get all the time, but they are two totally separate content management systems.
WordPress, because it's open source, is getting updated, and there are a million. Along with the open source and the updates, you also get hackers who delight in hacking it, and so you constantly have to update for security and things like that. Are any of those issues with Bandzoogle?
No, and in fact, we get every time there's some major hacking that's happened or a major update with WordPress, we do notice that some people make a switch, because with WordPress, because it's not specifically for musicians and bands, you have to embed a whole bunch of outside widgets and different features onto the WordPress theme. And once WordPress updates, to a new version, sometimes it no longer supports some of the older plugins,
Right.
and things break down, you can't find a new one. That doesn't happen with Bandzoogle. I mean, everything is working. We have we use Amazon's S3 server system. They're the fastest, most reliable servers in the world.
Right.
So we have very little downtime. So no, that kind of thing doesn't happen. People aren't able to, we get hacking attempts, but we have a very, very strong security system in place, and so we inevitably catch it. And in WordPress, yeah, I mean, I used to have my website on WordPress, and it broke several times because of hackers or some kind of virus, or again, WordPress prompts you to update to the latest version of WordPress. Okay. Click the button. All of a sudden, my website broke. So I got to call the designer and say, help.
We've got a WordPress blog and a couple of other things that were done in WordPress feeder sites and what have you. And yeah, that's a problem because on one hand, you want to keep updating to stay as hacker safe as you can be, or hacker proof. But you're right. Sometimes you hit that update button and it's a holy crap moment.
Definitely. And yeah, the nice thing about a company like Bandzoogle, and as opposed to WordPress, is 7-day-a-week online support. So if something does go wrong, or something you're not sure, if you have a question, you need some help, you can actually contact somebody. Whereas if you design with WordPress, it's an open source thing, so you have to track down your designer most likely, and most likely pay them, or by the time you get a hold of them, or by the time they have time to look into it, that kind of thing. So there's some positives and negatives of WordPress. We generally like to say that WordPress is great for designers. Mm-hmm. Not so great for independent musicians, unless you really do have a lot of technical knowledge and have the time to figure it out and sort of hack into it and customize it the way you want. It's a very powerful system that can go very, very wrong if you don't know what you're doing.
Is your technical support available during the NHL playoffs?
Great question. We do have support people in the United States as well as Canada. So no, there's no taking a break for the playoffs.
I had to take that shot.
Yes, that's a good comment, legitimate question being a Canadian company. But no, we've got support team online from all around North America, East Coast and West Coast. So, they got to be there regardless of what sport or what playoff series is on. So, and they're probably our best feature. We've got a couple of opera singers on staff for our support team who make apparently very reliable, nice, friendly people. So,
wow.
We encourage musicians, our members, to click the help tab whenever they need to, and we always get great feedback on how easy and helpful the support team is. So there you have it. Let's try to maybe get through another one.
Yeah.
We have time. Let's
Christos Papas.
Christos Papas. So let's see here. Try to see if it's a WordPress site or not. It looks like it might be. Again, there's like a little search bar here, which is why I asked.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to I would almost make this bigger, a little bit more bold, maybe more visual. Okay, that just reloaded the page. It's like the font color is almost the same as the background.
Doesn't pop enough.
Doesn't pop out enough. It needs to be maybe a little bit more contrast. For the navigation, even that font could be maybe a bit bigger. But the navigation is pretty clear. There seems to be a broken image here. It might just be a loading issue. Hang on, let me try to reload the page here. Cue the Jeopardy music. Still trying to load, So there may be some broken images, there may be a connection issue here, but there didn't seem to be for other websites, but these album images here. But they're good calls to action, which is great. But with this search here, this is the first call to action I see. Search me.
Right.
Why do I want to do that when I land on your site? What am I searching for?
Yeah,
what am
exactly. I don't know what I'm looking for.
I'd rather get rid of that, move the social links up, move these calls to action up higher on the page.
And underneath his name it says composer, producer, and frontman. So again, who's your audience, who you're talking to, and what action do you want them to take?
And I could barely read that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very small, so I would make this whole thing much bigger for the header text for sure. The homepage, there's a lot going on. This video, again, great to have play buttons. If you're gonna have a video, make it big. It's kind of small.
Mm-hmm.
It's being kind of squeezed. It's a 3-column layout, so it's kind of being squeezed in there. I would make that, if you can, either 50% or 100% of the page if you're gonna have a video on the homepage or anywhere on your site, really. Again, it's there's a lot of text here, and it's kind of small. Maybe I'm just getting old, but there seems to be a lot of bullet points here, and I'm trying to.
Yeah, it's difficult to read.
It's difficult to read. It's difficult to read. And there's a news page here. I'm going to quickly scroll through. So, okay, latest update is from last week, which is great. You know, this Be Sociable Share, like there's a like button here, there's a +1 here, a heart, all these social buttons, more tweet, more. There's a lot of social media plugins going on right here. Could maybe reduce that to one of these. Like,
right.
This is a like button, this is a like button, there's a tweet here, there's a tweet here, there's a tweet there. Like,
here a tweet, there a tweet,
there a tweet,
everywhere
a tweet. So
yep.
Maybe reduce the amount of plugins going on. It's great to have social sharing for news items, for music. All on Bandzoogle's blog, it's easy to share to Twitter, Facebook, by email, for individual songs, albums, things like that. But try to keep it, you know, as simple as possible. So he's got his latest news here. It also creates a lot of visual noise. And from a design standpoint, there's all these colors showing up each time. But it's a good news page to dive in to see more of what Christos is up to. It's great. I'm going to go to the bio page here.
It's a small font.
Yeah, it's a bit of a small font. And there's a very text heavy here. There's some quotes down here. I'm trying to see who they're from. But if you have great quotes, you know, I would lead with that one quote right at the top.
Yeah, there's no headline.
Yeah.
You know, the rule of thumb is the headline's job is to get you to read the first sentence.
Yeah.
The last sentence of the first paragraph's job is to get you to read the next paragraph.
Yeah, exactly.
So while he's got a lot of text on the page, it may be very good. It's small, and there's nothing that says "start here."
Yeah, exactly. So I went to the music page. One of these players, he's embedded some SoundCloud players here, which is fine. But one of them is an auto start player. So
that's a no-no in that book, right?
Yeah. Again, it's something that we try to eliminate from Bandzoogle's players, and our membership freaked out. So we've kept it. It's not a default. You have to check the selection. You have to go into the music player and actually turn it on to have auto start. But
at least it didn't start on his homepage here, so you got to give him points for that.
Yeah,
you actually had
the
the intent of hearing his music before it started. So
that's a great point. So on the music page, I would accept it a bit more for sure. So CPS Records. Let's see what this is. What's going on here? So it seems to be his own label. There's some information here, some players. Okay, that's cool. Coral Caves, I don't know what this is. And chances are, to be honest, I wouldn't click on it if I wasn't reviewing the website.
Right.
Having the menu names represent exactly what you're going to find. You know, it seems to be a name of a project or a different band. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a record label, his stuff, a record label, another project. Okay. And that's another common question I get is if I'm working on several different projects, do I need separate websites? And it all depends what your focus is. You can have it all on one website. It has to be organized cleanly, and it's well organized. But if I didn't know what Coral Caves is, I wouldn't have clicked on it necessarily.
Absolutely.
I would maybe, and it could be, to be fair to Christos, we didn't read through his entire bio, so it might be, the information might be in there, and it might mention his other projects, but, so I want to see the shop. Okay, so it seems that he has, for downloads, he's sending people to iTunes and Amazon MP3. Again, that's cool. I would find a way to sell your downloads direct as well to your fans, and then there's an option to buy a CD directly.
What if somebody's got a ton of songs and they're selling through Bandzoogle? Do you guys charge for storage space if they've got 100 songs?
Yeah, we have 3 different plans, and there's different storage capacities for each plan. Our pro level is $20 a month, and you have unlimited storage, so you can have as many. So we have a lot of beats makers who use the Bandzoogle platform because we don't take a cut of sales. So they just sell mass volume beats through our music features. So yeah, I think you know, there's various levels, but we, you know, very rarely do musicians go over the limits we offer. We're pretty generous with storage, so unless you're doing high volume like a Beatsmaker would be, then you would need the pro level to have an unlimited.
But even the pro level, $20 a month is a cheap thrill.
Yeah, exactly. It's $200 a year if you prepay for the year, so it's really for everything included. It's not expensive at all. But so the store page is pretty good. It's got SoundCloud players embedded. From a design standpoint, it's a little bit. Yeah, okay. The players are the same size. It's not bad. I like the fact that he is selling a CD direct. I would find a way to sell the downloads direct as well. Again, these images do appear to be broken on the sidebar, so it's something I would definitely fix right away. Photo section. So this seems to be all of his projects that would appear. So Christos, Sea Drain, Coral Caves. I would organize, I'm glad we hit on this. Photo sections are really important. People love looking at photos. It's going to be one of the most popular sections of your website. If you have a lot of photos, organize them in a way that it's easy to find certain types of photos. So have your official photos in one gallery with some links to download high-resolution versions in case media industry people need a high-res version. Have your live photos in another section, so your fans, if they want to see certain shows or certain festivals you played at or certain shows they've attended, you can have separate galleries for certain shows. Then you can have fan photos, photos with your fans, photos of your audiences, and then miscellaneous. You can have album covers, post-show posters, but make sure you're organizing them into different sections, different galleries, to make it easy to find that content. Because right now he's got 2 pages, and it's great that he has a lot of images, but it is a bit of a mixed bag. So I don't know if I'm a media person looking for, if I'm a blogger and I want to do a story on him. It looks like the official ones are there at the top with when he's wearing the blue sweater there. But again, make it super easy. Have an official photos gallery. Let's see. And again, this second time, I don't know how to get in touch with Christos.
And that would be the most important thing of all.
Yeah. So if I want to, if I want to buy a license from you or talk to you about, composing some music, how do I get in touch? And I may have missed it, but there's no contact section that I can see.
Try the search box to see what happens.
See, even the search box.
Wow.
I have to get rid of this text first. That doesn't disappear automatically. So I'm gonna try the search bar here. Page not found.
Okay.
So it seems like the search isn't even working. So again, I'll get rid of that for several reasons now, especially that it's not working. But maybe on the home page there was a contact section. I'm not sure. No. So I can definitely reach him through LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, that's his RSS feed for his blog. So again, contact section, super important, super important. So that's if anything, everyone watching, please have a contact section.
Have RSS feeds fallen off in popularity? A lot of people buzzed about it 3 or 4 years ago, especially in the web design community. It was important for search engine optimization. I don't know many people, frankly, that use on the receiving end of RSS.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's definitely diminishing. However, one area that it is useful, like some of our members use our blog feature, but they're also active on Tumblr. So one way that they can just blog in one spot and it also populates on their website is to use the feed from their Tumblr blog and import it to the Bandzoogle blog feature. And you can do that with most blogs. So that in that way, in terms of like pulling in content from other blogs, so you don't have to blog in several different places online, it is useful for that. I've never used an RSS feed to keep track of blog content myself. There are some people out there that definitely still do, but I think it might be a niche of people. But it can be useful for the musicians themselves if they want to save time and have their blog post showing up on a few different profiles at once. So that's what I would say about RSS feeds. But you're right, it's not it's not where it was 5 years ago. Yeah, for sure.
Not much is.
Yeah, exactly. With the rapidly changing landscape of the industry. you want to do another one? Do you want to do questions? Do you want
Let's
to...
do questions because
Okay.
we're an hour and 34 minutes
wow.
in.
Okay, yeah.
We've actually, a lot of the viewers, I think, have checked out at this point.
Okay.
So a couple of quick questions, and let's wrap it up. Christos is actually
Saying
watching. He says, "Contact on Search Me works here, Michael."
It wasn't working on our end, but again, contact section.
Yeah.
He says, yeah, I know. Too funny. So I've put my email address back up on the screen here, dcool@bandzoogle.com. Again, for everyone that I didn't get to, send me an email, send me your website address. I can't promise it's going to happen this week. Again, I'm going to be traveling, so my inbox is a bit of a nightmare right now, having been in LA for a week, but I will get back to you later this week or sometime next week with a full review by email.
And Mary Band has asked this question a bunch of times. I haven't gotten to it yet, but do you recommend having a top menu rather than a side menu?
Yes, that's something that we do suggest, mostly because it's become sort of standard on websites. People expect to see the navigation horizontally across the top, either
Right.
above the header image or just below the header image. Some musicians do prefer a vertical menu, and we do have some of our themes I think that have a vertical menu, but we try to steer clear of it because people tend to tune, especially if the font isn't very big on those vertical menus. When you're used to going to Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and you're seeing ads, maybe less Twitter, but Facebook and YouTube and Google, you're used to seeing ads running along the sidebar, text ads.
Right.
You tend to tune out what's going on and you're just looking at the main content in the middle. So that's one of the reasons why we do prefer it. And also that main content area horizontally, like you can do a lot with that. In the sidebar, on the sides, I'd rather see a call to action, a play button, something, rather than the menu. On mobile, it's a different story. Like all of Bandzoogle's themes are now mobile responsive, so they automatically format to fit the screen. So on a mobile phone, on your iPhone for instance, there's going to be a little what's called a hamburger menu. It's like 3 lines essentially. You're starting to see that more and more in web design. So you click on that and it's sort of, and it opens up a vertical menu just off to the side, and then you can navigate the website.
Right.
So major media sites are actually using that hamburger style menu, that hamburger menu on their main desktop version because it clears space for other content to be on the page. So it's something we might see in design trends coming up. But going back to vertical menus, definitely would recommend horizontal from a purely design standpoint. We do have artists who love vertical menus and want to use them, and that's fine. We don't necessarily recommend it for those reasons.
Somebody's asking what your total cost is again, if you could repeat that.
Sure, yeah. What I'll do here is I'll go to bandzoogle.com. So you can go to bandzoogle.com and check on our examples page. You can see all the different sites built using our platform. You can see they look totally unique from each other. Some of these are our pre-made themes, some of these are custom designs, but you can check out those sites there. You can check out all the features that are included, so hosting, domain, e-commerce, digital music, physical merch, mailing list, blog, calendar, all music players, all that stuff. So for the plans, there's 3 plans: $10 a month, $15 a month, $20 a month. The differences are in storage. So the light plan, you get 10 pages, 20 songs, 100 photos, a gig of press kit storage, and up to 100 mailing list members. And it goes up from there. Pro is essentially unlimited.
Right.
Prepay for a year, you get 2 months free, so it'd be $100, $150, or $200. If you want to try out Bandzoogle, you click on the Try It Free button, and then you're going to click on the little checkbox there that says I have a promo code, and you're going to enter in the word taxi, and you're going to get 6 months free. So if you do the 6 months free, and if you decide you like Bandzoogle and you upgrade to a paid plan and prepay for a year, you're going to get a website for 18 months for $100, $150, $200, whatever the case may be. So it's pretty affordable considering that everything's in one place. You can do e-commerce, you can sell your music, sell your merch, manage your mailing list, manage your email through your domain, get the domain included, hosting's included, support, all that for $200 a year. And you can another important distinction: there's some competitive website builders out there, content management systems, where once you build a site, if you want to change the design, you have to start over again. With Bandzoogle, and some of the members do this, you can change your design 10 times a day if you want. You can go back and forth. Your content and design are independent from each other, so your content is always there. And if you just want to change the way things look, it's a couple of clicks of a button, and you'll have a totally different looking website. So it's kind of fun. One of our feature artists, Delaney Gibson, who is here in LA helping us out at the ASCAP Expo, she's one of our example websites, and she changes her site often, and so we have to keep recapturing the look of her site,
right.
the latest version on the website. But so it's really easy to do. So that's a kind of an important distinction. But you can get all that information on bandzoogle.com. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me by email, dcool@bandzoogle.com. More than
That's
happy.
dcool, like Dave Cool. That's his real name. dcool@bandzoogle.com.
Yeah, it's fun when I travel. Whenever I go to airports, I get called Mr. Cool several times a day. So it's it's kind of boosts the ego.
Mr. Cool, you got the upgrade.
That's right. Yeah, that always feels good. So.
Well, at least your name wasn't Bob. Because then you'd be cool. Well,
Be
yes,
cool.
I am.
There, yeah. Never thought of that. Wow, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Or it could have been you cool.
You cool, yeah. Or that would have been.
That's right. Like Yuri or something and cool.
Yeah.
Uncool. Well, thank you, Dave. Always great having you on the show. I'm always impressed with just how easy it is to use, and I think that everybody who watched the show today is somebody who potentially needs what you do. So I do encourage you guys. I guess I could turn the camera around at
We
this
can
point.
actually see people again.
Yes. How'd you like that? That pan job. There we are. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Check it out, bandzoogle.com. I hope you learned some cool stuff today, and we will see you very soon on another episode of Taxi TV. And now it will be my pleasure to take Mr. Cool out to dinner. Dave, thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks for having me. It was a great time again.
Always enjoy it. See you guys soon on another exciting episode of Taxi TV Live. Bye, you guys.